Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a new video. So I'm going to be showing you how to do the Tmotty intro effect, or like the Tmotty intro. It's a really cool effect, and you've already seen it in the intro before. So yeah, this is definitely my most advanced tutorial that I've made yet. So it is going to be pretty hard to follow along if you're not if you don't have like a good understanding of what Davinci Resolve is. And just as disclaimer, this effect might be like more demanding for your computer, and yeah, also there will be a few things that you will need to download in the description. One being the Old London font, the second one being Sapphire plugin. That will be linked. They will all be linked in the description, so you don't really need to worry about those. And one last disclaimer: I'm currently on 24 FPS, or basically I'm on 30 FPS. And if you're on 60 FPS, you're gonna have to double the amount of frames that I move around, since you're on double the FPS compared to me. So yeah, let's get straight into the video. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get your clip. Right now I have a random clip. It doesn't even have a kill in it because this is an intro clip, so it shouldn't really need to have a kill in it. And then I have an adjustment clip as well. The adjustment clip length, it doesn't matter because it is literally the length that it gives you by default. So I'm going to be keeping the length that it gives to me by default, so yeah. And let's get straight into it. So first, I like to disable the second clip by clicking on it and then pressing D. I like it because it makes everything a lot less laggier. And then I also like to turn on proxy mode to half resolution, and then render cache to smart, which is already on. So after that, let's just get straight into the adjustment clip fusion. So click on the adjustment clip and then go into fusion. We're going to be adding a lot of nodes in here, so follow along. A lot of these will be the Sapphire plugin nodes, so yeah. So first we're going to add in merge, and then we're going to add a text below it, a regular text, and then we're going to be selecting the text. We're going to add s_glint, s_drop shadow, and then transform is the last one. And now we're going to add another merge node, and we're going to put that in too. We're going to add another text over here, and we're going to drag that in. Make sure it's connected to the green arrow, by the way, or else it will completely just not work. Make sure the text is connected like this to the green arrow. And then for this one, we're going to add s_glow, and then we're also going to be adding transform as well. So now I'm going to be showing you all of my settings for the drop shadow, glint, and then glow. So we're going to start with the glow. I don't have a preset for this, and the only thing I'm changing is changing the brightness to 0.7. So yeah, and then now onto the s_drop shadow. I'm gonna load in my preset and show you guys. So these are my settings for the drop shadow. There's not a lot of settings here, so just copy like what this is. And I'm also gonna be keeping the shadow color on red. You can obviously change your shadow color to whatever you want it to. I'm gonna be keeping it on red because I really like how red looks. And then now we're gonna go into s_glint, and I'm gonna be showing you my preset for this as well. So these are my presets for the s_glint. Right here, it's very basic. I did not change that many settings, and I'm really not biggest expert on all these, so I don't really know how they function 100%, but these will work pretty well. So now we're gonna go on. So now that you've copied my presets, we're gonna go on text, and we're gonna type in our name. So for the one with 4 nodes under here, we're gonna type in your name, which is mine is Chop, and then we're gonna be changing it to the font Old London. So let's just go ahead and find that. And we're also going to be changing the size up a tad bit to around 2, I guess. Or 1.85 looks pretty good. And we're also going to be dragging this thing up. And right now, you can see that the glint is working, and so is the drop shadow. This is the drop shadow is the red part, and then the glint is the tiny bit of glow that's behind the text. I think we're gonna go ahead and increase the brightness for this by a tad bit. So yeah, that looks pretty nice, 0.7 I guess. And then the drop shadow, we can just keep it how it is. And yeah, so now we're gonna type into our text 2 here, the one with the 3 nodes. We're gonna type in edit by, or you can really type in whatever word you want, but this is exactly how Tmotty does it. So I'm basically gonna be showing you how to do it. And then we're gonna change that to Old London font as well, and we're gonna change the size of the text down a lot, and we're gonna be dragging that up here somewhere around here, putting it right there. That looks pretty good. And let's just go ahead and change the color of the font to red as well. And then you can see that the glow is working here. It doesn't right now, you can't really see the glow, but when the background is the gameplay, let's just go ahead and re-enable this. Right here you can see the glow. It is definitely visible, the glow. You don't want it to be too visible, so yeah, keeping it on here as well. And now that we turned on the gameplay, I realized that the glint should be put back to how it was. So let's just go ahead and lower the glint again. So yeah, that's pretty much how the text is gonna look. That's it for the text, and now we're gonna be showing you. Now I'm gonna be showing you how to animate like the text to move in and out. So yeah. So first we're gonna go to text, and we're gonna go to spacing, and we're gonna go ahead and put our cursor to the first frame right here, and then we're gonna keyframe spacing, which is on the 3rd tab, by the way. And let's just go ahead and keyframe that. Make sure we're on the first frame, by the way. And then we're gonna go right 20 frames, so 40 frames if you're on 60 FPS. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And we're gonna go ahead and keyframe that. And we're gonna put the spacing. And now we're gonna go back to the first keyframe and put the spacing around however much you want. Depending on how many letters there's in your name, you might not be able to change your spacing too much. And since my name is Chop and there's only 4 letters in there, I can change the spacing up pretty high. So I'm gonna keep it on 1.75, I guess. That looks pretty nice. And you can see that it's the spacing is just gonna fade and slowly get close together. And right now you can see that this is a linear graph. It moves on like a very steady speed, and that does not look too good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and open spline here, and we're gonna go ahead and click on this box with text 1 and character spacing. We're just gonna click on that, and then we're gonna readjust so that we can see this graph bar thing clearly. And we're gonna go ahead and hold left click and drag over these 2 points, and then this is how it's going to look like after you release it. I'm going to press S on it, and then we're going to make an exponential graph. This is how the exponential graph should look. You don't want it to be too exponential, but you want it to be pretty exponential. So this is how it's going to look. This is not the definition of an exponential graph, but this is basically how the exponential graph should look. just go ahead and copy as closely as you can to this graph, and because we're going to be using a lot of these exponential graphs today. So after that, we're going to stay on the node text 1, and we can go to the fourth tab here, which is opacity. Fourth tab here, which is the color tab, or like the color tab, I guess. And we're gonna go ahead and see opacity right here, and we're also gonna make sure we're on the first frame this time, and then we're gonna go right 7 frames, so it's gonna be 14 for the 60 FPS users here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and keyframe that one more time. Go back to the first keyframe, and we're gonna put the opacity down to 0. So this is so this also gives it like a nice fade in. The text gives it a fade in effect, kind of. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well. So yeah, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to transform, and we're gonna also keyframe a transform. So for what effect we're trying to go for here is we're trying to make the text appear really big at the beginning, and then it's gonna slowly become smaller and smaller. So yeah, let's go do that now. And we're gonna make sure we're on the first frame again. We're gonna keyframe size this time on transform, and we're gonna keyframe it, and then we're gonna go right 20 frames. So 40 frames if you're on 60 FPS. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20, and we're gonna go ahead and keyframe that, and go to the first frame. I know you can't see the text right now, but we're gonna go ahead and put the size up to round 2. So yeah, this is how it's gonna look for now. It's gonna slowly fade in. This the speed right now is really, like, it can't play back fully because my computer isn't that good, but this is how it should look. Right now it's playing at 25% speed, so the text just fades in, which gives it a really nice effect. So after we finish that, we're gonna go ahead and open spline here, and we're gonna go ahead and find transform 1 and size, and we're gonna go ahead and deselect everything else here. We're gonna see that transform 1 and size, and we're gonna go ahead and find the graph over here. Just go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and we're gonna also make an exponential graph on here. So select all the points, press S, and then go ahead and create a nice little exponential graph. So yeah, now that we're done with that, we are basically done with the first text part. We're gonna be coming back to this text later, but for now we're done with this. And now we're gonna go on text 2, and we're gonna make sure we're on the fourth tab here, the color tab, and we're gonna go ahead and keyframe opacity. So we're gonna make sure on the first frame, press this once, and go right 7 frames. 14 frames if you're on 60 FPS, and let's just keyframe it again. Go back to the first keyframe, and we're gonna put the opacity down to 0, just like we did for the first text. And now we're gonna go to transform, and we're also gonna be keyframing size. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure we're on the first tab. We're gonna keyframe this, and then we're gonna go right 20 frames. So 40 if you're on 60 FPS. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20. And let's just go ahead and keyframe that as well. And we're also gonna go back to the first keyframe, and we're gonna put the size to 2 as well. So I know you can't see the text because the opacity is currently at 0 right now, but just put the size to 2 and it'll be fine. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna also open spline again, and then we're gonna go ahead and find transform 2 and then size. And then let's just go ahead and make sure that is so only one selected, and we're gonna go ahead and highlight everything and make another exponential graph. So this is how it's gonna look. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is pretty much it for the fade in. It gives you this really nice effect that everything is coming together, which is just really clean. It's just like, it's so freaking clean. Can't even express how clean this is. And yeah, so now we're gonna be keyframing the fade out part, because we have a fade in, and we're also going to want to fade out as well. So what we're going to do is make sure you're on the last frame here, which is not the yellow dot, not the yellow line. Not the yellow line, but it's like one frame before the yellow line. I don't know why Davinci Resolve does this, but this is not the last frame. The frame before that is the last frame. So this right here is the last frame, and we're also gonna be doing the fade out. So for the fade out, we're gonna be keyframing the opacity and then the size as well. And also we're going to be keyframing the spacing. So it's basically the same exact thing, but it's at the end of the clip. So yeah, so go to text. We've already done this before, so we should be able to do this pretty quickly. Go to the text. We're going to keyframe spacing, and we're going to go left 15 to 20 frames, or 15 to 20 frames, or 30 to 40 frames, depending on which FPS you're on. I'm going to go left 20 frames still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 20 frames, and we're going to keyframe spacing. And then we're going to go to the last frame here, and we're going to put the spacing to however much you can put it without having your text like be off the screen. So let's just put it to 1.7. I could put it more, but yeah, 1.7 looks pretty nice. And now we're going to go to transform, and we're going to go ahead and keyframe size as well. So make sure you're on the last frame again. Keyframe this, and then go left 20 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And we're going to go ahead and keyframe that. And we're going to put the size. We're going to go to the last keyframe, and we're going to put the size to 2 as well. So yeah, it gives us a really nice text fade out effect. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to text 1, and we're going to go to the 4th tab, and we're going to keyframe the opacity one more time. So make sure you're on the last frame. Keyframe this, go left 7 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keyframe this, and then go to the very, very last frame and put the opacity down to 0 as well. So now we're going to go into the spline, and we're going to be keyframing. We're going to be creating exponential graphs on them. So let's just go ahead into character spacing, and you can see this linear graph, and we're going to go ahead and change that into an exponential graph very, very easily. So that's how it's going to look. And then we're also going to be doing this for the size on transform 1, and we're going to select everything, make an exponential graph. Super easy, super clean. And now we're going to go on to text 2, so the smaller text, and we're going to be keyframing opacity and then size as well. And we're going to be going on to 2, and for this one we're only going to be keyframing opacity because size fade out, it just doesn't look too good. I've tried it before. You can do it if you want, but I'm only going to be keyframing the opacity so that it fades out. So let's just go ahead and make sure we're on the last frame. Keyframe this, go left 7 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then keyframe this, and then put the opacity down to 0. Make sure you're on the last frame, and then put the opacity down to 0. So this is basically it for the text part of it. So it gives us this really nice fade in, and then it stays like this for however long, and then at the end you also get this really nice fade out. So this looks pretty good, but I'm gonna be showing you how to make it look even better by using motion blur. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to text 1. We're gonna go to the last tab here, and we're gonna turn on motion blur and put the quality to 10. And we're gonna also do this for the transform. Go to the 2nd tab here, turn on motion blur, put the quality to 10. And then text 2, we're gonna go ahead and go to the last frame, motion blur, 10, transform, go ahead and turn on motion blur as well, put the quality to 10. And this is like, it gives you this really nice motion like blur effect. You can see this, it's blurry here, and this makes it pretty much a lot harder for your computer to play it back, but it doesn't really matter since we're not going to be visiting this thing again. And yeah, that is basically it for the text part. And now we're going to go on to the clip part, where we are going to be keyframing some stuff. I'm going to be showing you how to do this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go make sure we're on the clip now, and we're gonna go to the first frame of the clip. We're gonna keyframe opacity, and then we're going to go right around 20 frames. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20, and it's going to be 40 frames for the 60 fps users again. So yeah, and we're going to keyframe this opacity, and we're going to go to the end of the adjustment clip here, and we're going to keyframe the opacity one more time. So yeah, right now there's going to be 3 keyframes, one at the very start the clip, 120 frames in, and one at the end of the adjustment clip over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the first keyframe. We're gonna put the opacity down to 0. Go to the second keyframe. We're gonna put the opacity down to around like 50, or you can go higher, however much you want, but I usually like it on like 50 something. So yeah, that's how it's gonna look. And then it's gonna slowly fade. It's gonna stay at 50, and now we're gonna go on the last keyframe, and it says opacity here, which is 100, and then we're gonna go we're gonna go left 15 keyframes here as well. So we're gonna go left 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15, and it's going to be 30 keyframes for the 60 fps users again. So yeah, keyframe the opacity one more time here on the 15 frames before the end of the adjustment clip, and we're gonna go ahead and put the opacity down to it's gonna be 50 something. It's gonna be the same thing as your other keyframe. So yeah, we're just gonna keep it on 57.39. You can put whatever value you want, but for me, this is how it looks good. And then it's gonna turn the opacity all the way up to 100 while your text fades out too. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you have any other tutorials ideas, comment them down below. And yeah, subscribe, make sure you subscribe, because I post tutorials like this all the time, and it helps a lot of people out. So yeah, again, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and peace.